Bienvenue. This is, interestingly enough, the perfect segue into 50 minutes because I have 3 goals already done. I posted 3 videos. It did take me pretty much an hour longer than the goal of the 15 minutes, but it's going to get a little faster each time, and you'll find that it gets faster for you too. This news article is to seal this history into the internet, and the only way for this to be lost is for the internet to go down, or for YouTube to shut down your channel or something. But this is a way for you to share your thoughts on the news while giving people visual and audio data. That technically all data is worth something. We've seen even digital data is starting to be worth something as far as currency. So consider this as what you're leaving for the next coming in your own voice. I am jealous. Don't be jealous, but I am very jealous of actresses, actors, even Mark Hamill, for being able to have not only his youth sealed into digital repository that will always be remembered as, Star Wars, and he left his impression just like the Bible characters back in the day. This is an opportunity to leave your voice really in the chronicles of human existence. Technically, will it be popular? Will it be deemed treasure versus trash? Literally depends on who you ask. But here it goes. This is the article for today. April Stokes wants to go to work. An optician by trade, Stokes was employed at HenrY Ford Optimize until the coronavirus struck and school closed for her 2 young children. Now, I'm assuming this is in Detroit, if this is HenrY Ford. So it kind of has a little bit of personalization for me. The family has not been able to ride out the pandemic thanks to expanding federal employment benefits, which provided them with $1,152 every 2 weeks, much less than Stokes was making before, but enough to survive. So about $2,300 per month. That's a good given penny. How much is she making on just an employment to be able to? And that's for 2 people, for 2 children. This is pretty much what my own brother and his wife are probably making. How much are they making? Let's find out. Let's go to my personal, phone, and you guys can hack it, whack it, do all the things. Know that it's 2:41 here, and that I'm a living person. And if that information ends up screwing me in the end, so be it. But hopefully, I am not targeted by this sharing of my personal. So 2,300, you divide that into 4 weeks. You're essentially getting, in 4 weeks, you actually divide it by 4 weeks times 40. So 160, 4 weeks times 40, 160 times by 5. Well, how much is he making per 2,300 per month? Is that what's hourly? Divided by 40? And then divide that by 4. Divided by 4 weeks. $14.38 per hour if it was a full-time job, and she was putting in 40 hours a week for that. Some places that's more than minimum wage. Now, however, that viral lifeline has ended. Stokes isn't worried about her ability to find a new job, but finding one that can accommodate her children's schedules will be next to impossible, she says. Childcare in the Detroit suburb where she lives is severely limited, she said. The nanny she trusted to pick up the kids in the afternoon prior to the pandemic is no longer available. Surprise, surprise. The government is not leaving us with any options, noting that officials are pushing people back to work while telling them the Delta variant remains a concern. There are a lot of single moms out here that are really panicking right now and don't know what to do. Nearly 18 months after Congress came to the rescue of jobless Americans, its historic expansion of the nation's unemployment benefit systems expired nationwide this week. I think it was on the 4th. Lawmakers who extended the 3 pandemic programs in December and March are not expected to renew them again. A key component of the relief effort was a federal weekly supplement for out-of-work Americans. Initially, the jobless received $600 a week boost from April through July of 2020. Congress then revived the enhancement in late December, but reduced it $300 a week. Lawmaker also created 2 other measures to aid the jobless when the coronavirus struck. The Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program provided payments for freelancers, the self-employed, independent contractors, and certain people affected by the outbreak, while the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program extended payments for those who have exhausted their regular state benefits. President Joe Biden said last month that states can use federal relief funds to extend the programs beyond Labor Day, but so far none have said that they will do so. As I'm imagining, there's always a cost to such extension. The end of the safety net comes as the Delta variant is weighing on the economy and dampening hiring. The U.S. added only 235,000 jobs in August, far lower than the economists have been expecting, and the smallest increase since January. More than 8 million people are now left with no unemployment compensation at all, while another 2.7 million lost the $300 federal weekly boost, but will continue receiving state payments, according to estimates. They join roughly this 2.7 million who were cut off from some of their benefits June and July after 24 states opted to terminate at least one of the programs. I'm going to skip ahead. The generous benefits are not only the reason for the relatively slow pace of hiring. Childcare and health concerns are also major factors. About 5.5 million people said they are not working because they're caring for children who are not in school or daycare. Another 3.2 are concerned about getting or spreading the coronavirus. I wonder if that's the same out of the 5.5. It's the same demographic. Economic uncertainty is also an issue. People are being thrown into the labor market at a time when the Delta variant is affecting consumers and businesses. The uptick in cases is prompting some people to pull back on traveling and eating out, and some businesses to cancel events. That may lead employers to scale back their hiring. We've protected people up until now from the real damage of long-term unemployment. Now we have to see whether this job market is really strong enough to keep people out of long-term harm at a time when people don't have some of the other protections, like the housing protections they had during the pandemic. Hundreds of out-of-work Americans wrote to CNN about why they are having trouble returning to the labor market at this time. Some said good jobs remain scarce, others said this virus is still affecting their business, and still others cited family or health reasons. Take Valerie. In Rhode Island, she owns Gourmet Traveler, which offers bus tours to New York and New England destinations as well as trips overseas. She hoped that business would pick up in 2021 after they started to get vaccinated, but the Delta variant has forced her to cancel several excursions to New York City this summer and to postpone 2 European trips until next year. The $424 she was receiving in weekly pandemic jobless benefits helped her pay her bills and invest some in the company to prepare for when travel picks up again. She said she and her husband both receive Social Security, but it's not enough to cover all their basic expenses, especially with inflation pushing up prices for food and other necessities. This is what HenrY and ZoeY are going to be facing in the coming months. Without the unemployment compensation, she fears she may fall back on some bills and have no further cut back on groceries, particularly meat. Just knowing you have that little bit of money you were giving me, that was a good thing. That's what's been saving me through all of 2020, and most of 2021. Fear of the coronavirus has kept some Americans from returning to the labor market. Rebecca Ruiz started homeschooling her 2 young granddaughters. Ruiz, who has custody of the girls, is worried they can bring the virus home to her, and a chance she's not willing to take. The $900 she received in unemployment benefits payments every 2 weeks, coupled with Social Security benefits, helped the family survive, especially after lost her husband's income from his job at a supermarket. Right now, all I can do is make my pennies stretch, said Ruiz, who did office work for a trucking company that shattered at the start of the pandemic. The California resident is now hoping to find a position that will allow her to work from home. Meanwhile, some laid-off Americans report they aren't getting interviews or offers despite sending out a multitude of resumes. David Grain, who has worked in hospitality for more than 30 years, has been applying for jobs throughout the pandemic after losing a position as a chef at a retirement community in early 2020. Most of the postings call for less experience and offer a lower wage than was made in the past. Grain, who turned 64 on Monday, suspects his age also plays a factor. God damn. So many factors in reality. The Illinois resident has an interview on Tuesday for a chef position that pays $20.1 an hour, which would be a big cut and could entail a 45-minute commute depending on traffic. But now that he's lost his unemployment compensation of $1,060 every 2 weeks and is holding off on taking Social Security so he can get the full benefit in 2.5 years, he can't afford to be choosy. I'm at the point that the gun is in my hands regarding income. I have none, he said, noting that he also needs employer health insurance to cover his diabetes care. I'm at the point that the gun is in my hands. So, the response is on.